Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Izzatul Mufidah. I'm from TBIE class and the fourth semester. In the video for teaching learning assignment this time, I have made a mind mapping which contains the theory of educational psychology. So, let's look at the following explanation until the end. First of all, there is a definition. Definition of educational psychology is a branch of psychology that studies the characteristic of individuals in their development. And the purpose and function of educational psychology is to develop knowledge and methods for studying the teaching and learning process in everyday situation they are each appropriate in the educational environment. And the second is the history of educational psychology, where in this history there are several psychology experts who explain how the historical process of educational psychology was created, including the following. The first, Democritus. In the 5th century BC, for example, the educational psychologist named Democritus wrote about the benefits of school action and the influence of the home environment on individual learning success. And the second is Plato and Aristotle. In the 4th century BC, Plato and Aristotle discussed various topics of educational psychology, including the types of education they are appropriate based on the difference of learners, physical exercise and development of psychomotor skills, good characters forms, possibilities and limitation of moral education, the effects of music, poetry, and other arts on individual development, the role of the teacher, the relationship between teacher and student, teaching tools and methods, types of learning activities, learning principle, affection and learning, and also learning regardless of the teacher. And the third is Johann Amos Comenius, a psychologist from Chess who was born in the year 1592 AD and died in the year 1671 AD, explained that the science of educational psychology has the following topics and objectives. Children should not be considered miniature adults, and learning should be able to attract children's attention to it using probes so that children can observe, experience, and investigate. And the fourth is Jean-Jacques Rousseau, a thinker and world educational psychology expert from France who was born in the year 1712 AD and died in the year 1778, explained that the science of psychology in education has important goals, including everything is God when it comes from the hand of the Creator, everything deteriorates in the hands of men. And then parents or adult interference with child development can cause problems if not done carefully, and educators should equip themselves with knowledge about the psychology of children. And the fifth is William James, a world educational psychologist from New York who was born in the year 1842 and died in the year 1910. In the year 1890, William James published his first book entitled Principles of Psychology. Then he gave a lecture entitled Talk to Teacher. In his discussion, he discussed the application of educational psychology to educate children. He emphasized the importance of studying the teaching and learning process in the classroom to improve the quality of education contained in many aspects and theories of psychology in general. He recommends teaching at a higher point above the child's knowledge and understanding with the aim of broadening the child's thinking horizon. And then the third is the scope of educational psychology. Basically, educational psychology studies all human behavior involved in the educational process. Humans involved in this educational process are teachers and students. So, the object discussed in psychology in education are student behavior related to the learning process and teacher behavior related to the learning process. So, the main object discussed in psychology in the world of educational is the problem of learning and learning education for all age. And the last is educational psychology theory. Therefore, educational psychology theories, they are part of the basic concept of the implementation of psychology in the world of education in Indonesia and in the world. The first is behaviorism theory. The first educational psychology theory explains the observation of change in behavior they are influenced by events around them. This behaviorism theory holds that learning occurs because of operant conditioning. That is, if someone learns well, he will get a prize and it will improve the quality of his learning. And the second is cognitive theory. Cognitive educational psychology theory prioritizes how to develop individual cognitive function so that learning can be maximized. Cognitive function is important because it can affect the development of students in the educational process and as a measure for the success of the learning process. Cognitive theory is a theory that is generally associated with the learning process. Cognition is a human psychic or mental ability in the form of observing, seeing, perceiving, paying attention, guessing, and assessing. In the word, cognition refers to the concept of recognition. Cognitive theory states that the learning process occurs because there are variables on aspects of one cognition. And then the third is theory of humanism. This theory prioritizes the individual involvement of students as a whole because learning will not take place if there is no emotional involvement of students. This educational psychology theory explains that a person can choose what he wants to learn, seek and assess his own learning process so that motivation is needed from the student themselves. Humanism learning theory in education places more emphasis on positive development, an approach that focuses on human potential to seek and discover the abilities they have and develop these abilities. And the last is theory is constructivism theory. In general, according to the theory of behaviorism, people who learn are people who do not have knowledge of something. Therefore, teacher must be able to transfer knowledge to those who learn. However, several scientific education research results in recent years have revealed that knowledge is built into a person's mind. The basic assumption of constructivism theory As an educational psychological theory of learning is that basically everyone already has initial knowledge or proficiency about something to be studied. Learning is basically how to develop on or construct the knowledge or initial proficiency that already have into a new and complete knowledge. Okay, maybe that's all I can say. More or less apologies if there are errors in the material that I have described. And last, I say, Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.